Hi all. Welcome to the 5th episode of my online series, Boss Babes. I'm super excited to be here with Chef Tamara Murphy, currently co-owner and chef of Terra Plata, which is an incredible farm-to-table restaurant in First Hill / Capitol Hill. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay.
The Pike Pine corridor.
Okay. Yeah, it's connected to Melrose Market. She is co-owner with her life and business partner, Linda DeLello Morton. She was also chef and owner of Brasa in Belltown between 1999 and 2011. And so she's been in the Seattle industry for 30 years now, but in the industry as a whole for 45 years. So she's really seen the changes in the industry happen and, really seen the restaurant industry change over time. And I do know, Tamara, that you're an amazing activist for the community. She's been featured in podcasts, television shows, written about quite a bit over the years. And I've had the pleasure of dining at Terra Plata several times, and it's always been a truly outstanding experience. So thank you for that, Tamara. And then, I know she does think deeply about her employees. I have a very dear friend, Chantal Gillis, who's been with Tamara for over 8 years as one of the leads. So I know she really does take care of her Terra Plata family. And then I recently had the pleasure of chatting with you, Tamara, over the phone, and we had a really good conversation about some of the difficulties facing restaurant owners right now and some of the things that you and Linda are doing in light of that. So you definitely shed some light on issues that I was unaware of. And so I'm really excited to, and some of the things that you all are doing in light of those issues. So, I'm really excited to have you here and to hear your perspective and what you have to say. So thank you again, Tamara, for being here. Is there anything you'd like to add before we move forward?
No, I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for reaching out to me. And I'm on my beautiful rooftop at Terra Plata that I can't wait for people to come back to.
I know
it's looking beautiful, and it's nice to be up here and have this, but I prefer it with people.
Yeah, and I've heard about your rooftop deck for some time now, and I actually haven't had the pleasure of being up there, but you did just send me a photo of it right before our interview, and I'm so jealous. Wish I could be there with you up there on the rooftop deck. But so yeah, let's start with some of the questions. And so my first question to you is sort of a three-part question that has to do with COVID. And I know that right before COVID hit, you all were planning on opening up, a new restaurant. So, when the pandemic first hit, what were you thinking? What did you do? What was that process like for you, especially, knowing that you were opening up something new?
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember the day well, when the week well, when things started. They closed down San Francisco, and they started to close, it started to, I would talk about it here in Seattle, and we were speculating, and then finally it happened. They shut down all of us, and, having never heard those words before, it's kind of like, what? Yeah. Because of course that has never happened. And it's a little bit of a fog, I have to admit. I was trying to recount and replay sort of the series of events, like what happened right after that, or leading up to that. I know that we were, as everyone was in Seattle, everyone was becoming slower and slower and slower. And, like there were no customers, and then boom, right? Because everybody was getting freaked out and not going anywhere. And then I believe, we started to pack up food for our staff, perishable items and that kind of thing. But, every day we kind of gave them something, and then finally, whoever was there that day, we just sort of unloaded most of the things that we couldn't, we knew we weren't going to use. And and then I believe that Linda and I think we came back that following day, and I think we cleaned. Restaurants become, they're a part of us, right? It's like, it would be like leaving your child unattended, and which was unthinkable. And then it was really you know, just a sort of a day by day sinking in. And I think we pretty much came in every day to just move things around or take care of the refrigerators and clean some things, and just sort of in a waiting game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember Chantel coming in, you know, daily and kind of, you know, doing some of those things. And yeah. So, kind of, what are some of the things, you know, since that moment that you you know, are doing moving forward? I mean, I know it's a huge grieving process, and you know, some sort of like a loss of identity in some ways, in terms of, you know, it's hard when you have no control over that situation, especially with, and it's like your child. It's really tough. So but I do know that you all are doing some things right now for the community, and have sort of rebranded or, you know, reworking how that's going to look, and what the restaurant experience is going to look like as well.
Yeah, every day has been moving towards today, right? It's like with not a whole lot of plans. It's a lot of feeling our way through things. And of course, our industry all did what they felt was best. Some closed because that was best for them based on the, you know, their lives and their situation. And for some reason, Linda and I just chose to keep moving forward. Going back to the part, the sort of the first part is, we were about a week away from getting out invitations to our new restaurant. And you know, to fast forward a little bit, we basically, you know, we still had work to do down there, but it was looking beautiful, and we have tools and things all in the front, and we still had, you know, things to build. But I did go down there about 2 weeks later, and it was the oddest feeling, because I went in and I literally, I mean, sat on the floor and sobbed, because it looked like I had abandoned my child. You know, everything, it looked like there had been an evacuation, right? Because everything was left just where we had left it. And so much had happened in those 2 weeks. And again, just so many surreal moments. You know, it comes in waves. Again, we've never been here before. But we did continue, you know, Terra Plata has never had any other model other than dine-in service, right or wrong, good or bad. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm so old school and I've been doing this for so long. Social media, well, I've learned how to use Facebook. I talk a lot on there, which you're friends now, so you've seen. I have an opinion.
Oh, you have an amazing voice, yeah.
Oh my! But takeout, delivery, you know, online, anything to do with Terra Plata, we've never done any of that. Social marketing, so we were like, oh my gosh. So we had a really steep learning curve, and we still are learning. You know, I became Instagram and photographer, and you know, and it's like, oh my goodness. You know, there's a reason why that when I first started in this business, of course, they put us behind closed doors for a reason, you know, and as a cook, right? And now we're just out in the open so much. And anyway, so we have gotten a lot better with our own personal online presence. At this point, learning about, you know, what works for Terra Plata, what works for Terra Plata doesn't necessarily work for the place across the street. So we've been doing a lot of that. But our first and foremost concern was for our employees. I mean, for our our family, you know, us included. We were like, this just doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is no good. You know, how are we going to survive, and what does it look like? A hashtag, well, a term that I've used for many years is food is love. And because I'm sort of that kind of cook, I cook from my heart. I'm not, I never went to school for culinary. I was taught by an Italian mother, grandmothers, just people who cook with love to feed us, right? So that's kind of who I am. My partner Linda came up with this brilliant idea, along with a couple other people in the community, that we should start the Food is Love project. And maybe we could, you know, help through this, because we've always fed people. We've always fed our community. We've always done things that share our love of food and this industry, because this industry is at the very heart of it. It is about feeding people, right? And taking care of people who have less.
Yeah.
So we launched that program, and we were able to, the public right away responded in a positive way and started to give us donations. And what that immediately did was we were able to bring our cooks, some cooks, a few cooks, one or two cooks, back to work.
Yeah.
We had something for them to do.
Yeah.
So, and since then, I mean, we have probably now 5 or 6 different restaurants that participate.
Amazing.
Food is Love has fed over 7,000 or 6,500 people, including people that live outside, and vulnerable families who, of course, when the school shut down, their food source went away.
Yep.
And so we have felt just extremely proud and grateful for the opportunity to be able to stay relevant, you know, be a part of our community like we always have been. That's part of our brand.
Yep.
And it gives us it gives us a purpose, and just keeps us, what we hope, we're moving through this.
Yeah.
You know, even, you know, we started on the edge of the forest, and it was pretty freaking scary, and maybe we're in the middle of it and it's pretty dark.
Yep.
And hopefully we're just moving through, and we're going to get to the light, going towards the light. That's all we can do.
Yeah, and I mean, for viewers out there, check out you know, the webpage, because you could donate, you know, boxes to families, etc. And there are different amounts, and it's an amazing project. And it's sort of like in a moment, in a time when things are difficult for ourselves, like how can we support the community at large? And you know, I think that's kind of the stand that you've taken, and that you guys have taken. And I mean, that really is just such an important and vital piece of you know, who you are and who we are, and just seeing that is really inspiring. And yeah, it's an amazing project. So folks, really check that out and support. I know I will.
It would just go to our website.
Yeah, it's there. You know, and I know that, you know, on top of that, you guys are kind of experiencing just a shift in how you're delivering, and just like all of these things, like what you know, we had spoken a bit about what does, you know, what is it, the restaurant experience is shifting, right? So what does that mean now? And then for consumers to also be thinking about, and for the community to also be thinking about, well, you know, this is a new experience, and a new kind of restaurant dining experience that's not what it was. And so to really have some compassion for you know, restaurant owners and waiters and everything, especially once things roll back out. You know, given some of the kind of things that you guys are dealing with, and it's a new experience for you as well as it is for consumers. And I know we had spoken about that, and
yeah,
you know, you were kind of telling me, you know, that it is a new experience for everyone. So just to have that kind of compassion around that. But so yeah, you know, so like, how do you think COVID, you know, has affected not just Terra Plata, but other restaurants and the restaurant industry in general? Because I know the restaurant industry, especially after we spoke, you know, is really different than some of the other kind of, you know, business, you know, the small businesses and all of that. Like it's a very different experience, it's a very different dynamic.
Yeah, you know, we are 11 million strong in the industry. It is you know, it is an industry that is, you know, I read an article and it made a lot of sense to me. It's, you know, there was a time, you know, in the 50s when we were a manufacturing country, right? And that was what everyone did. And my father did that. He worked in the steel mills in Pennsylvania. But that went away. And what replaced it was the service industry, the hospitality industry. I mean, you're hard pressed to find anyone, especially my age, or even for my generation, right, that has not been in the service industry at some point in their life.
You're right.
Right.
Wow.
It is the first industry that, of course, people who come to this country as immigrants, they usually get into. It is the, truly the first, second, and third choice. It is an industry that has historically been there for second jobs, to send their kids to college, to put themselves through college. It is a job when in 2008 I was through that economic disaster. I mean, that was a hard time too. We had people who were professionals in other industries come and looking for us for work.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, I have been around. I've seen 2 crashes. I've been through 9/11, the .com crash, 2 recessions, and now this. So, and of course this one tops all of them.
Yeah.
So our industry is super important, and not to make light. I know other industries that are suffering, and I know people who have nothing to do with our industry that have lost their jobs, but they will, hopefully, they have a little bit easier time bouncing back.
Yeah.
There isn't many, we are a cash flow business, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And there are very few companies, even Fortune 500 companies, that could afford to be completely shut down for 3 months, let alone more months, let alone, and only be able to have half the capacity.
Yeah.
So we're in trouble.
Yeah.
This industry is in trouble.
Yeah.
And the trickle down is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many people who are in this industry,
Mm-hmm.
and we will only be able, at the very best, be able to bring just a portion of our staff back.
Yeah.
We're talking about the bright side here.
Yeah.
So, we have people, and Linda's very active in a lot of different organizations to try to bring to light that, what a small business is, how many employees we really have. There's things in Congress that are talking about, well, these businesses of 10 employees or less should get this, that, and the next thing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all great, but that's not just a small business. I mean, we have 20 to 40 employees, and we're a mom and mom restaurant,
Right.
20 to 40 depending on the season. And if we don't get relief, we're not going to be able to continue. So it happened. It's all about everybody's individual situation, what they can do, what their landlord is willing to do, or able to do.
Yeah. I mean, I know we had talked about sort of, people are thinking about, in the moment, what can we do? But, thinking about kind of like the long term, this is going to have some very, very real long-term effects, and just kind of thinking about, long-term support and long-term policy changes and things of that nature. We kind of, briefly talked about that. And so I think that's something to really keep in mind, not just what we can do to support now, but really kind of thinking through, the future and what we can do to change some policies.
Right. And then, and very, very smart people in my circle who know us for Terra Plata, and that we associate with all the time, but have never been in the business. It's been in education for them as well. And they'll say, wow, I never really thought about that. And you guys are going to be okay though, right? It's like, but it's Terra Plata. Yeah. But we're all in the same boat. And even in smaller places, one thing that Terra Plata has going for it is we have so much open air. We have this rooftop that I'm looking at now. One of my employees is, we've taken this time and we've refinished all the furniture. Everything has been sanded. I mean, it's obvious that we plan on making it through this. Otherwise, we won't be doing this. But we are doing a lot of this work ourselves. But this will be this is a sought after place. It's open air. There's no walls. And then even downstairs, the doors open. We have transom windows, but not everybody. I mean, so we're so grateful we have this but you know, you have a lot of restaurants that aren't like that. And so people really do need to understand that what the industry is facing, because it's going to affect even people that aren't in this industry. It's going to affect them in ways that they have never even thought of.
Mm-hmm.
And in Seattle, and I've mentioned this, we are a very philanthropic city.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what Terra Plata has participated in, what Brasa participated in, what I've been participating in my entire 3 decades here, and what every restaurant that I know. We are a very giving industry, and there is not a fundraiser out there that happens without us. Now, I know things are going to move to a different, but we donate a lot, and things will, you know, I don't even know, I can't even, you know, the Zoom online fundraisers and all of that's going to happen. But wow, who wants to, I don't want to be morbid, but who wants to live like that? Why would you even travel anywhere if you couldn't go to restaurants?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, no, we are vital. We are vital to our society. We revitalize every neighborhood. We go in when nobody else wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, and I think some people are like, wow, we really miss you guys. And it's like, yeah, just think about how we miss each other too. I can't wait for the day that I have a customer complain. It's like, oh, okay, no problem. Let me run over here. And, you know, they've also said, yeah, you know, that overcooked steak last year that I yelped about, maybe that wasn't such a big problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep, relative to the situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
So people need to pay attention to what our city council is doing, and when they do something or what's going on. We have a problem with property taxes that restaurants have to pay. We are burdened with so much in our city that isn't because we don't have an income tax. Big companies aren't paying, little companies are. So if they want to save, that's part of them being extremely aware of policy that's changing, or that might change, or that's happening. You know, local stuff is really important.
Yeah, local stuff is so important. And yeah, I mean, yeah, just, you know, having that conversation with you the other day, you had brought so many things to light that I didn't know about, just what those, you know, restaurants have to go through in order to sustain themselves. And it really is such a vital part of the community. It really sustains the community. So it's really huge. And so, you know, aside from kind of the long-term, you know, support, what are some of, you know, things that people like myself or just the community can, you know, kind of do to help, you know, right now, do to support you all and do to help?
Well, it's interesting because as we've moved through this, I've learned, because of people doing what matters, what's helpful. And first, like, is for anything, right? First, we have to ask them what, and mean it. Like, if it's not a barrel of dollar bills, of bills, it's not a wheelbarrow of money. You can always use that.
Yeah.
And people are just, you know, I mean, every single restaurant, right, is doing something online and all of that. And, you know, there's only so many people and so many meals, and that, you know, we're all delivering actually the same experience, sort of. But what's challenging us and what's helping us all grow and be, because we are creative, we are resilient. I met with my kitchen team yesterday. We talked about the different experiences that we could provide that are different from what's out there. You know, all these, you know, everything from date night to, you know, how do we just take everything that we know and love about our industry. And we know it's about experience. We know it's about experiencing the rooftop, or experiencing the owners and the staff at another restaurant, and how people feel. So, but so, I mean, everybody's, I think, out there is ordering as much as they can.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, there is there's that. But you know, people have come to us, like, so for instance, because we weren't very good at social media and we weren't very good at connecting those dots, and we didn't have a lot of the graphics and the things that, you know, probably we should have been working on all along, because we knew that the industry was going that way.
Yeah.
We have people who we have this, you know, someone who's working with that social media part of for us, and they're saying, I just want to, don't worry about paying me right now. I just want to help you guys.
That's
You know,
very cool.
because they have this talent.
Yeah, totally.
And so there's, you know, I've also talked to some attorneys, you know, there's some people who need some legal help, right?
Yeah.
And renegotiating their leases, or like, how do I, you know, even, you know, what happened, we saw what happened when they first rolled out the first PPP package, right?
Yep.
And all the major companies gobbled it up. They ended up giving it back because they realized they didn't need it.
Yep.
And it wasn't the right thing for them. But they also were the first in line, because we're like, what do we do? How do we do it?
Yeah.
I got to fill out what?
Yeah.
How long is that going to take? You know, they have all these people in place that just go, oh yeah, no, we got that, you know, and they were the first in line. But there's lawyers, you know, people who have maybe some, you know, attorneys that reach out to their clients and say, hey, can you help us? Or you can, you know, we need some help, but maybe we do a little pro bono work here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we have a linen company who's bringing me, you know, I'm washing the bar towels that we have to use, right? I'm taking them home and washing, because it's a company, it's very expensive to have that done. We don't have napkins. Well, we do, but we aren't using them, of course. And we just have towels. But we have a linen company who comes by every few weeks, drops me off some bags of towels. I mean, it matters. And it also makes you feel like people care about an industry that has always been there for everybody else, always.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so whatever that, you know, we have the garden. We have somebody coming by and they help me with the garden right now for no charge.
Yeah. Just really like supporting one another as community members, and not, you know, having it just be all about the dollar, but really just seeing how we can support one another. I mean, I think if anything positive maybe has potential, I mean, and you know, tell me what you think about this, but maybe anything positive has come out of that. This is maybe just the community kind of supporting each other a little bit more, and kind of having
and appreciating one another.
Yeah.
You know, we have customers who are bringing us bread, you know, I mean, like, look what you know, and it's awesome. And because they have all this, you know, we're the bread makers, but they're bringing us by because it's love, right? It's like, look at this. What do you think about this piece of bread? Just look at my loaf. It has all bread to us. It's like, no, that's awesome. Yes. And they're like, and it's wonderful. And then restaurants, we have, I'm working with someone, Tina Tan, who's in Taiwan right now. They're kind of stuck there. She's making all these masks.
Yeah.
And they're for free for the industry. And we're like, come on, we got them.
So amazing. So like, are there any other positive things that you're seeing, you know, if any, aside from just sort of the community coming together? And I mean, things like that, like making free masks. I mean, I've seen some of that too. And, you know, just being supported by the community.
Well, you know, on another level, I always thought that no matter how we treated our planet, the planet would probably be just fine. That I used to say, oh no, she's going to be just fine. She's going to get rid of half of us before we get rid of her. And then, whoa, it's like, careful what you say. But, you know, my concern is that we might go back to our old ways. And, you know, immediately the things that happened were, you know, China saw blue skies, the emissions went down immediately. There were turkeys running around in West Seattle at Lincoln Park, as far as I know. There were fish coming back. You know, and you know, I think there is always, you know, winter does not last forever, and I think that on the other side of this, when we get on the other side, we will see, hopefully, I mean, on one hand, you go, oh my gosh, I want to say more kindness, more compassion, more understanding. And, you know, we seem to have two forces working against each other right now. I mean, because we have some really ugly things happening right now. And it's just like, oh my, amidst all this, you know, we're in this little Seattle bubble here. And I'm like, and there's some pretty awful things happening here too. It's just, you know, it's almost, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a person of color, and said, you know, it's almost worse here because it's so underground, because all of our privilege, you know, we're just not seeing it. 100%. And but I hope that we have a shift, you know, and God, I really hope that, because we cannot go through all of this and whatever we have on the other side, man, we got to protect it and protect each other, and I don't know, think the best of each other, but got some things to work out.
Oh yeah, well, we really do. It's some heartbreaking realities.
Yeah,
that need to shift.
You see me?
Anyway.
Well, I know, yeah. I know you in trying to respect your time, I know you don't have a lot.
Oh, no, it's all good. I'm enjoying it. It's good. And then I think that restaurants, you know, like us, will be stronger, assuming we're going to make it through this. We'll be stronger just with the technology that we have. You know, that's just on a real basic level.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that
was it.
There's positive in here. We know that there is. And,
yeah, and I've definitely seen that, just, you know, in my own life, slowing down, shifting, kind of people are really thinking about their, you know, what's important, and prioritizing, you know, just what is important to them, and the community. So I definitely you know, see your perspective, and agree with a lot of you know, with that. And so is you know, just kind of to wrap up, is there anything else that you know, want to add, that you kind of would like to touch upon that we haven't talked about, or that you want you know, the viewers to know, or to think about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, one thing for everyone to realize and know that, you know, oddly, we've sort of, most of us probably have settled into some sort of norm, as weird as it is. And,
Totally.
It's not like we're comfortable, but we kind of know. We wake up and it's like, okay, I know what I got to do today. But we're eventually we will move into phase one of reopening, right? Basically phase two is the whole thing, but phase one of reopening. And as we get closer, we all talk amongst ourselves, but we as a society and as a community in Seattle, and every restaurant's different, and every customer base is different. We're realizing what we do have and what we don't have, and understanding that it's public needs to also understand that it's costly to actually get ourselves ready for this. Depending, I mean, they've loosened some of the requirements, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't be doing them.
Yeah, definitely.
Every restaurant will be a little bit different, and on their own level of, I don't want to say level of defense, but actually restaurants right now are probably, for themselves, or if they're doing everything right, are probably one of the most safest places that you can be, because we have, especially the ones that have been open, because you know, I looked at that guy, because I don't know if you could see him, but he didn't have a mask on. I mean, I'm used to people wearing. If in our restaurant, you have a mask. We don't. And when we're up on the roof, as long as we're 6 feet or more apart, take them off. But we wear our masks. We wear our gloves, and we do not and then the kitchen is divided in such a way. And when I see people getting too close, it's like, you know, we have a way of we turn our backs if we have to pass. We have the mask on. Because we are with each other all the time. We either are supposed to be at home, social distance, be at home, or, you know, basic stuff, and then sheltering at Terra Plata, sheltering at home, sheltering at Terra Plata. And, you know, we will become, in our opinion, I sort of thought about this today, we will become less safe as the public comes in. And they are going to because we know what we've done here doesn't mean we couldn't become sick. You know, or become positive. You know, even doing what we're doing, still people are out there, right? we can only do our best. But we're going to be, every restaurant is going to be unfortunately responsible for keeping their themselves and their employees and the customers as safe as possible in whatever they require.
Mm-hmm.
People are just going to have to be okay with it.
Yeah.
If people come in, we'll have them for them. If they don't have them, of course, we're going to require people to bring in to have their mask.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to the restroom or when they get up from their table or whatever it is, they need to have a mask on.
Yep.
Because it tells us, it's also a message. Like if you disregard that, if you're one of those that's like, I don't need a mask, I don't need that, I can do whatever I want, I don't want you in here.
Yep.
Right? You can't come with that attitude.
Yep. 100%.
And we'll have a hand washing station when they come in, and we have to have someone who's kind of running around every time you go to the bathroom, disinfecting things, and and having disinfectant and sanitizer on every table, and that's costly. And we're gonna, it's getting hot.
Yeah.
And that mask, you're in front of a grill.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
Right? And cooking the way we cook, we have always tasting spoons everywhere. Well, every time you taste, you're gonna have to pull your mask off. So the food we're gonna have to do what we have to do, and the expectations have to be lowered.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They have to be lowered because we're not gonna be able to taste everything.
Yep.
We have to change our gloves multiple times. I've spent over $1,000 on gloves just through this from us.
Yep.
That's an expense. And customers might see somebody tugging at their mask or doing something wrong or something that they're uncomfortable with. They need to talk to the manager. We haven't done this before either.
Yep.
We are all doing this for the first time, and it will never be the right time either.
Yep.
It will always be the first time. It will be awkward until we move into that place of where we sort of are now when this started, and until we get a vaccine or until we, it's going to be a while.
Yeah. It's gonna be a while.
And we just need to be patient. We need to be kind. And if things are taking too long, or if a waiter is a little snappy, we hope they don't want to be. We don't want them to be that, but it's uncomfortable. And if they're working on this roof, it's hot.
Yeah. With the mask and all of
On one hand, I'm thinking, oh, the roof is great, but man, it can get really hot up there.
Yeah. So I mean, just like for the consumers and the public to have compassion and to understand and respect the recommendations, the policies, and if there is an issue or something that they're unhappy with, not to go yelp about it, but to speak directly to you so that you can change things or address it or whatever, because you've never done this either. It's your first time too.
Right.
So
really important. And to get there, which everybody wants to get there, I'll just put this out there. One of the reasons why that goalpost keeps moving in county, I know the governor has opened up some other counties, and people are getting frustrated. They're understandably, this sucks, having to stay at home, and they're ready to get out and move about, and people have to make a living. But we also, even around Seattle, I mean, I'll go to, and we're going to see this week, right? It's going to be almost 80 degrees. You go to a park, and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Right? Yeah.
We have to show you're adults.
Yep.
You shouldn't have to be told what to do here. But you're going to screw it up for everybody. As much as maybe you don't agree with it, this is what is being required. And if you just go do whatever you want, we're never going to get open. So behave.
Be socially responsible, and think about the fact that, this is going to affect so many, everyone based on, a single action or several single actions, or, person, individual action. So, that's definitely something to think about, and just try to be as, be as socially responsible as possible, so that things can shift and that you guys can open. Well, thanks again, Tamara, so much. I really loved having you here and chatting with you and getting to know you, and your perspective Oh yeah, thank you. I was just, I was going to say is that your perspective and is really important and really appreciated, and especially, just some of the things that you've shed light on. I really appreciate that. And for those of you who would like to contribute to Tamara's Food is Love project, Tamara and Linda's Food is Love project, your contact info will be posted, the website, etc.
Sure.
And so I'll just ask you one more time, is there anything you want to add before we close out, or yeah.
I'm good. Thanks for doing this, and you're doing your part. We appreciate it. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Tamara. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Well, I look forward to to coming in when all is open, and ordering from you all in the meantime, and supporting Food is Love. So sending love, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Likewise. Yes.
Bye,
Soon. Bye.
All right. How? Hold on.